But what do you do if you have an impeller that looks like this, where there is no stem? Now how do you tell which is the top and which is the bottom? And this is where there can be some confusion. But it's actually not such a big problem to understand, because it doesn't matter what brand of ESP you're using, you can tell which is the top and which is the bottom. I'm going to switch to an impeller that is a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to see. So this is quite a large impeller. This will produce somewhere in the neighborhood of 50,000 barrels a day. So hopefully you have a well like that, because there is an ESP that can produce that. So when we take a look at this impeller, you can see that clearly the shaft is going in the middle here, and there is a point where fluid can either enter or exit right at this location. When we turn the impeller around, there's the shaft, and there's another point where fluid can either enter or exit. You can see that this entry point is close to the shaft. This point here is away from the shaft. If you ever want to know what the bottom of an impeller is, all you need to do is look at the entry point that's closest to the shaft, which is what we see here. And the reason for that is the fluid needs to enter the bottom of the impeller and exit coming away from the shaft. That's the whole idea of the impeller, is that it rotates in such a way that it shoots the fluid outward. Now, the question is, how do we know which direction this impeller rotates? So we've determined now that this is the bottom of the impeller, and we can see that there's blades here in the bottom of the impeller. If we were to rotate this one direction, what would happen is the blades would paddle the fluid. If we rotate it in the other direction, the blades cut into the fluid. And you need to ask, what do you want this impeller to do? And the reason why this is a difficult question is it doesn't matter which direction this impeller rotates, it's going to pump fluid. You are going to move fluid, in some cases all the way to surface, whether you turn the ESP in the correct rotation or in the incorrect rotation. But one is going to produce it much more efficiently and at a higher pressure. And the way you want the ESP to rotate, in this case, you would want it to rotate in this direction because the blades are cutting into the fluid. They're grabbing the fluid and they're moving it from below to above, coming out the exit points here. So with that rotation, this impeller would rotate counterclockwise when looking at it from the top down. Now you might say, okay, well that's great.